Okay, so I came in last week. I went through sort of introduction with you to the placements, gave you loads of information. So hopefully you have all started thinking about where you might want to go, who you're going to start contacting, having a look on My Career. Hopefully you've all registered on there now. Like I said last week, you need to complete a pathway in order to be able to go out on placement. And your first pathway was attending the first session, and it was completing the placement allowance form. Anybody that wasn't in last session will have received an email from my colleague with a link to the video to watch it. So if you haven't done so already, please go on, watch that video if you weren't here last week, and make sure you complete the pathway. Has everybody managed to log on to My Career now? Have you tried it? Have you got on? Yeah, perfect. And has everyone done their placement allowance form? No, you just do that as soon as possible and then it's done. You do have until the 9th of December to get it done, but just get it done. It's literally, I think it's 3 questions: your name, your account number, your sort code. That goes straight through to the finance team, and then we've got it all for when you do go out on placement. There should be no delays with getting your payment sorted. So today I'm going to discuss with you about knowing your industry. So we want to help you to understand your sector and the key skills that you need to be thinking about developing in order to be successful in your chosen career. So I'm going to sort of cover 2 things today. One of them is to identify the key skills that you can develop whilst you are out on placement. And the second thing is to try and get you to understand your sector and the different placement opportunities and options that will be available to you. So before I go through it, I just wanted to remind you, especially for anybody that wasn't here last week, just some really key information. So the placement dates, as you know, you have 2 choices. The first choice is a full-time placement during the placement block, which is from the 17th of April to the 19th of May. That is if you want to do your placement full-time, so whatever the full-time hours are of the organisation. If that doesn't work for you because you have commitments, you've got a part-time job, whatever it might be, then a flexible placement might be more suited to you. You can start a flexible placement as soon as possible, and that can be 1 or 2 days a week, whatever works for you, as long as it's around your studies and other commitments. The placement deadline, so the latest date that you ideally should be starting a flexible placement is the 27th of February. That is just so that it gives you enough time to be able to complete your minimum number of hours. And then the block placement, if you are choosing to do the block placement, you need to have those details submitted on eVision by the 3rd of March. If we don't have confirmation of your details by the 3rd of March, we will be following up to find out, what you're doing. It's fine if you do start after that, but we just need to know that you are on with it and you are trying to find something. As you know, I am your placement officer, so if you need any support from me, you can attend my drop-in sessions, which are in the atrium from 1 till 2 every Tuesday, or you can book a one-to-one appointment with me via My Career, and I have a block on a Thursday booked out every week from 11 till 1. They're 15 minutes appointment, but if you do need longer, we can obviously extend that. So if you do need any support, please book onto one of those sessions. And then we do have the CV and interview help desk, which is every Wednesday and Thursday. It's run by the placements team, so it'll either be myself or one of my colleagues. And you can just come along, drop into that. It's in the library from 1 till 2 every Wednesday and Thursday. So across the week, there are loads of different sessions that we're running that are there to basically support you. If you have any general queries that need sort of answering as soon as possible, or you're not able to attend any of the drop-ins, please just email that to placements@Leeds Trinity. And we are based in AG12. However, I must advise you, this is a back office. So if you were to come and knock on the door and say you wanted to speak to a placement officer, you'd probably just be directed to My Career to book an appointment. So to save you time, instead of coming to the office, if you do need to speak to myself, just book an appointment with me. Like I said, every Thursday, 11 till 1, and I can either do it via Teams or on campus, whichever suits you. And if you're not already following them, we are on social media, LTU My Future, and we do advertise placements on there. We put on key events, any deadlines, anything like that. So it's a good page to follow if you are on social media, if you would just like to be kept up to date with anything that is going on. So, 5 things that you all need to be doing. First of all, hopefully after last session, you already started doing the first one, which is thinking about what you want to do. So what sort of industry do you want to go into? What sort of placement would you like to do? What sort of organisation would you like to do your placement in? Start having a think about what it is that you would like to do. Start identifying the key skills within your sector. So start thinking about the skills that you want to develop now whilst you're going out on placement that are going to help you to be successful in your chosen career. Access prospects.ac.uk. I have got a slide on this next, so I'll go through that in more detail. Start researching your sector and companies to contact. So start having a think about who you're wanting to contact. Remember, there are so many students across Leeds, not just Leeds Trinity, that are going to be going out on placement, that are going to be contacting all these organisations. So the sooner you start contacting them, the better. And make sure that you attend all of the placement lectures and delivery sessions delivered by us. We do deliver key information, and we are here to answer any questions. You may benefit from listening to the questions that your peers might ask, so make sure that you're attending all of the lectures and sessions when you can. But of course, if you are not able to, for whatever reason, we will always provide a video version of the presentation so that you can at least catch up on it. So this is all about prospects.ac.uk. So if you have not accessed this website already, you should. It is a really useful tool to help you decide potentially what you want to do, and it will also give you advice on the best way to get into specific industries and specific job roles. So there's 3 different elements to prospects.ac.uk. So the first one is, if you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, you can take the career planner quiz. It will ask you things like, what are you interested in? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What skills do you already have? And then it could potentially give you an idea of some options that might be suited to your skill set. Another way to use it is type in the course that you are studying. So business management, for argument's sake, and then it will give you loads of options. So you can click on job options. So that will give you a list of all of the types of job roles that you can go into based on the course that you are studying. And it will give you some ideas and some examples that might help you think about where you want to go on placement. It will give you an idea of the sort of work experience employers will be looking for if you are wanting to go into these sorts of careers. It will tell you typical employers. So there you go, straight away you've got a list there of companies that you could start to contact. It will tell you about all the skills that you need for your CV. Now this is a really useful one because then it will help you to define the sort of skills that you want to think about developing whilst you are out on placement. It will tell you what you can do if you're interested in further study, and it will also tell you what business study graduates do. So what many of them go into once they graduate. So again, giving you loads of different ideas. Another way that you can use it is if you know exactly what it is that you want to do. So for example, I've used a business advisor as an example. You can type in the job title of the job role that you would like to do, and it will give you loads of information based on that job role. So for example, it will tell you the sorts of responsibilities you can expect to be responsible for if you go into that career. It will give you an idea of the sort of salary that you will start on as a graduate and how you can progress. The qualifications that you would need and the skills that you would need. So again, really useful one. If you know exactly what it is you want to do, look at the skills so that you can think about the sorts of skills that you need to be thinking about developing now in order to help you get into that role. Excuse me. So it is all about skills. The placement is there for you to develop all of these skills that employers are going to be looking for when you graduate. So I have taken this information from Prospects, and as you can see, a lot of the skills that are on here that are key skills for business graduates are very much what we would call soft skills. So things like numeracy, leadership qualities, self-motivation. These are the sorts of skills that you could potentially develop within any placement. And the reason that we tell you to think about the skills rather than the placement is because there may be times where you're not able to go into the exact placement that you would like to do. So it's a really good idea to think about the skills that employers are looking for, such as these skills, so that you can think about how you can develop those whilst you are out on placement. A really good one there is the self-motivation and commitment one, and it does say in order to combine study while working. So showing that you're able to manage your time and be organised, you can complete a placement and you can complete your studies. And of course, like I mentioned in the first lecture, any other extracurricular activities that you can do and get involved with, whether it's in the uni or out of the uni, will also benefit you in terms of developing your skill set and making you stand out from anyone else that's applying for the same job role. So these are the sorts of skills that you could develop on placement. They're all, pretty obvious ones. So working as part of a team, interpersonal skills, working on projects to tight deadlines. A lot of these are things that you are developing and building whilst you are studying, but it's really good to go out into the world of work and develop these there as well. These are the sorts of things that employers are looking for on your CV, so it'd be good if you could develop these skills and have really good examples as well, because when you're interviewing, they will ask you, give me an example of a time when you worked as part of a team. So if these are the skills that employers are looking for, these are the things that you need to start thinking about getting involved with and developing whilst you are out on placement. So I briefly mentioned soft skills earlier. So there are two types of sort of skills, so to speak. So there's hard skills and soft skills. So the hard skills are the things that you will develop potentially whilst you are studying throughout your degree. So your formal qualification, any training that you do on Microsoft Office, anything like that. So these are all of the technical skills that are very job specific. The soft skills are your general characteristics and traits. So for example, time management, professionalism, communication. Graduate employers are not necessarily looking for those hard skills because they understand that you have spent the last 2 or 3 years studying, so they understand that you're not going to be graduating with 20 years finance experience, for example. They will be looking for those soft skills. They'll be looking for times where you have managed your time, you've worked professionally, you've been able to communicate, things like that. They understand that they can help you to develop and train you on those hard skills, whereas the soft skills, those are the things that they'll be looking out for. So these are the things that you need to be thinking about now and thinking about developing whilst you are out on placement. So this was a little activity and it's just a shout out one, and I have gone through loads of skills anyway, so it should be quite easy for you. But can you identify any skills that you think that you could develop whilst you're out on placement? You can shout them out to me. Even if it's any that I've just literally mentioned on the previous slides.
I don't work around here, so something this time, maybe you can contribute. Resident skill, maybe, that you think you're going to develop? On your placement. Leadership?
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry? Communication?
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
Time management? Anybody else?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so there's loads of different soft skills that you can develop whilst you're on placement. Every single one that you've mentioned, absolutely. These are the things that employers will be looking for, and these are the things that you really need to be thinking about developing whilst you're out on placement and during, like I said, any extracurricular activities and during your studies. We do ask you to think outside the box. So we understand sometimes it can be quite difficult to get a very specific placement within a certain organisation or doing a certain thing. So for example, if accountancy is unlikely and you're not able to find something within an accountancy firm, start thinking about other areas where you can develop those same sort of financial skills, such as look at contacting other organisations. Every organisation will have some sort of finance department. Don't just be looking at accountancy firms. Start contacting organisations. Contact the finance department within Leeds Trinity University. There's absolutely no reason why you can't try. But think outside the box. Like I said, think about all those skills that you need to develop, and remember, the employers are not necessarily going to be looking at where you went and who you did it with. They will be looking at all of those skills that you've been able to develop whilst you were out on placement. So it's not the organisation or the job role that you're going into that's the most important. It is what you do and the skills that you'll be developing whilst you're out on placement that are the most important. So this is just to start you thinking about what you want to do. Hopefully some of you, like I said, after last session have already thought that, about what you want to do. You start contacting organisations. I have seen a couple of applications coming through on my career, which is brilliant. But this is just to sort of break it down and help you to start thinking about what you might want to do. So we want you to start thinking about what you would like to do, where you would like to do it, why you want to do it, and who you want to do it with. So in regards to what do you want to do? So consider which areas of business interest you. Which areas of business are you sort of studying and focusing on? So is it finance, is it marketing, is it HR? Have a think about what it is that you would like to do. Then where would you like to do it? So do you drive or are you on public transport? Make sure that you, when you're contacting organisations or applying on My Career, that it is feasible for you to get there. If it's taking you 2 buses and a train and you're always going to be late, that is not going to benefit you in any way. So just make sure that wherever you are looking and wherever you are applying, you are able to get there and it's going to be manageable for you. So why do you want to do it? This is a really important one, because when you're contacting organisations, don't just ring them up and say, I need to complete a placement as part of my degree, can you offer me one? Because they're probably going to turn around and say no. Start thinking about why you want to do it, so that when you are contacting them, you can tell them what you want to gain from it. Also, when you're ringing them, let them know what it is that you can do to help them, rather than just making them think that they're doing something for you. So, let them know what you're interested in, let them know what you've been studying, let them know what you're already great at, so that they can understand how you're going to benefit their business, rather than going in there and saying, this is what I want. Give them a solution, this is what I can offer to you. And who do you want to do it with? So who do you want to work with? Do you want to be in a small business, or a large organisation? Do you want to be in the private sector, public sector? If you're looking for something extremely specific, do you want to look at SMEs or not-for-profit organisations? Have a think about who you would like to work with. So, whilst you're out on placement, we have a duty of care to make sure that you are safe, essentially. So we will ask you to complete a health and safety form, and we will also ask your placement provider to complete a health and safety form. You cannot start your placement until both of these forms have been returned. If you start your placement and we do not have these 2 forms back, your hours will not be counted. Your hours will only be counted once we've received your health and safety form, because if you are out having not completed this, you're not under our care, essentially. So when you go onto eVision and complete a placement form, you will automatically be sent the health and safety form for yourselves. It will ask you questions such as, are you familiar with the location? Do you know how you're going to get to and from there? Is there anything that's going to affect you getting to and from there? All of that sort of stuff. We will then also send one to your placement provider. If you have applied for one on My Career, they'll have already completed it. But if it's somebody that you found yourself, we will send them a health and safety form. And it will ask them similar questions, such as the location, the working conditions, do they have any policies in place, all of that sort of stuff. So just remember that you are not able to start a placement until both of these forms have been completed. If anybody has already started a placement, please can you just grab me at the end of this session, and we'll just have a quick chat about it, because I know some students have sort of already started during the summer. If that's you, just come and grab me at the end and I'll let you know what we need to do. But now that I've told you about this, now that I've delivered this session, if anyone has not started yet, any hours that will be completed prior to this won't be included, because you have had this information now. So this is just to give you a little bit of an idea of typical roles that are related to business. So you've got in the first column roles that are directly linked to a business degree. So you've got, for an example, business advisor, accountant, management consultant, project manager. So that's just to give you a little bit of an idea of some potential placement roles that you could go into. In the second column, it's roles where a business degree would be useful, but it's not essential that you have done it. But this will, of course, again, give you some ideas of what you might want to go into, some marketing, sales, mortgage advisor. We've got lots of placements that are actually currently being advertised. We've got loads that are in marketing. We're always inundated with marketing placements. So if that is of interest to you, please do go to My Career, because there is loads on there at the moment. We've got one HR one, we've got a couple of sales ones, we've got quite a few that are within estate agents, so like lettings and things like that. So there are quite a lot of placements that are currently being advertised on My Career that fall into these categories. So please do make sure that you're going on there and having a look and applying. I had a question earlier about, can you apply even though I've not delivered all the sessions? Absolutely. Get on there, get on and apply now, because obviously you will need to send CVs, you'll need to interview, so there's going to be a process with that as well. So just make sure that you're having a look at those placements that are already being advertise, because we've pretty much done the hard work for you. You just need to do the application and then hopefully ace the interview. So this activity was designed, and I know that Nikki mentioned that she's kind of already done this with you, but it was just to get an idea of the sorts of placements that you guys would be interested in doing, what you're looking at, the sort of areas that you're wanting to go into. Not only will it help each of you to think about loads of different options, but it will help me as well when I am ringing around organisations to see what sort of placements students are interested in, because there's no point me going out there and getting dozens of marketing ones if not one student is interested in marketing. So is anybody happy to just shout out a couple of things that they're interested in, maybe organisations that you really want me to get in contact with, or types of placements that you would like me to start looking at and advertising, just to give me an idea? Finance. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And did you write that on Nikki's list? Did you write that on Nikki's list last week? Okay. Yeah, because Nikki's going to share the list with me. I think she did an exercise with the same question essentially. And it, like I said, it just gives me a really good idea. Then once I've got a list in front of me, I know the sort of businesses that I can start contacting. So please do share your ideas. And if you're not comfortable sort of shouting out where you want to go or what you want to do, this is another time where you can book a one-to-one with me. Like I said, it'll be tomorrow 11 till 1. Come and have a chat and say, look, I really want to get into, for example, finance and accountancy firm. I want to work alongside an accountant. Can you help me? And we can try and look into that and support you to try and find that placement. So these are the sorts of things that you need to be thinking about doing next. So make sure that you review all of the resources that are available to you on Moodle. I know that there were some issues logging on last week because we were doing some work behind the scenes. We have removed the enrolment key to make it easier for you to get onto. We have also put on, so at the top when you log onto Moodle, it'll say help and support. If you click help and support, it'll say placements. That will take you straight through to the placements page as well. So hopefully there should be no issues now accessing the Moodle page. But at the end, when I'm answering questions, I will put those QR codes back on the screen. Make sure that you're attending all of the placement lectures, placement advice sessions, workshops and events. Like I said, there will be loads of useful information that is covered, and if students are asking questions, then you might get answers as well of questions that you were thinking about. I'll remind you now as well about the Careers Fair that's on the 18th of October. We have got loads of organisations that are coming to that, for example, West Yorkshire Police, NHS, we've got a couple of law firms, we've got ITV, so there's loads of big names there that are going to be coming. You just need to register your attendance on My Career, but then it is just in the atrium, 11:30 till 3. There's absolutely no reason why you cannot come along and speak to those employees about placements. So please do come along and start networking and start speaking to employers. Research your sector and different job roles within it. So start thinking about the sorts of placements that you can do, the sorts of job roles that you can do. Remember, going out on placement is a chance for you to see if this chosen career is the right one for you. So treat it as a bit of a trial for yourself as well. So start having a look and start thinking about the different roles that you can do. If you haven't already, visit prospects and start thinking about those transferable skills that we've discussed. So go on there, have a look at it, make a list of the skills that are needed for that career, and just make sure that when you are applying for placements that you're able to develop those skills. Dig out your CV and update it and attend the CV workshop. So there's a CV workshop every Wednesday and Thursday in LC018 from 1 till 2. If you've got an upcoming interview, if you've got an application that you need to complete, if you are not sure that your CV is strong enough, you want me to help you tailor your CV for a specific placement, you need to be coming along to one of these sessions and we can literally help you to do that. I will be coming in again to run a session on CVs, but it is very vague, it is very generic. So if you're needing something more specific, then please do make sure that you come along to the CV workshop. Start researching and contacting organisations. Like I said, do it now. Don't leave it till the last minute. because what will happen is if you leave it till the last minute, all the good ones will be gone and you'll end up being stuck with something that you really didn't want to do. It will still be it'll still benefit you, you'll still develop the skills, but it might not be the one that you really wanted to do. So really start thinking about it now, even if it is the block placement that you're wanting to do. I know the deadline 3rd of March feels like it's miles away, but it's not. It'll creep up very quickly. So if I was you, start contacting organisations, get it sorted, and then you're done and you don't need to worry about it. Keep in touch with your personal tutor and your placement officer. Please do just keep in contact with us, keep us up to date. The amount of times students come to us literally a day before the deadline and say, I've not been able to find anything. And then our records show that they've not attended any sessions, they've never booked a one-to-one, they've not come to a drop-in session, they've never logged on My Career. We can see all of this information. So if you are struggling, make sure that you're coming to us as soon as possible and not leaving it till the last minute. And then, like I've said, look at the placements on My Career. There are loads that are currently being advertised on there. So if you're worried that you're not going to be able to contact an organisation or secure something yourself, just log on to My Career. Log on every day, literally every day I'm putting new placements on there that's always being updated. So have a look on there and have a look at the different sorts of placements that we've got advertised. Played this video for you last week, so I'm not going to play it for you again, but it is just how to use My Career, and in a nutshell, you can apply for volunteering opportunities, you can apply for part-time jobs, you can apply for placements, you can book onto one-to-one appointments, you can book onto events, so everything that you really need to do is on My Career. So please make sure, if you haven't already, register to use My Career. And make sure that you're having a look on there and making use of what is on there. So as mentioned, the QR codes again. So the first one is for the Moodle page. If you've not already accessed that, please do enrol on that now. Like I said, we have removed the enrolment key just because of the issues that students were experiencing last week. And if you're not able to access it via the QR code, you can find it in the help and support section on the Moodle page. And then the second QR code is for your placement allowance. So if you've not already completed the placement allowance form, please, again, just get that done as soon as possible. Then it's done. You don't need to worry about it. And there'll be no delay with your payment. I'll leave that on for a second. You can also find the placement allowance link on the pathway. So like I've mentioned previously, you do need to complete the pathway to say that you've attended the sessions. So if you were here last week, you should have completed the first pathway, which was the first session, and also the placement allowance form. Your second pathway is this session. So everybody that's here now can log onto the pathway and tick that they've completed the second session, which is Know Your Industry. If you don't complete the pathway, or if you don't register your attendance, you will receive an email sending you a video saying that you weren't in the lecture, so you need to watch the video as soon as possible. So to avoid receiving that email and having to watch the video, make sure that you're registering your attendance on the register and also completing the pathway.